Good afternoon. I decided to do my trope assignment on strong black woman in television. The stereotype of the strong black woman portrays black woman as tough, resilient, and able to handle whatever challenge life presents, frequently without displaying signs of weakness or vulnerability. According to the stereotype, black women are emotionally independent, rarely require assistance from others, and constantly prioritize the needs of others over their own. Although this cliche might be inspiring, it also restricts how black women are portrayed by frequently ignoring their humanity and depth. So for this trope, I'm gonna give a couple examples of television shows and movies that I've watched that have exemplified this trope and the strong black woman. The first being um How to Get Away with Murder by Annalise Keating. Annalise Keating is an accomplished defense lawyer and law lecturer in the show. The character Annalise Keating. She is tough, in charge, and frequently has to bear professional and emotional weight of her clients, co-workers, and students. Her character is emotionally complicated. Nevertheless, she faces many challenges. She exemplifies the stereotype of the black woman by rarely letting people see her fragility in spite of her personal struggles. The next is from the movie Mulan. In order to to battle, in order to battle in the lieu of her sick father, the titular character in Disney's Mulan disguises herself as a man. Although Mulan's courage and her tenacity are shown as assets, she also faces the emotional toll of living in a culture that views women as submissive and the fear of being found out. Even though her character is far from one-dimensional, she is a perfect example of the strength that is frequently connected to the strong black woman cliche. Both of these characters show strength during the movie and the show of being independent and trying to become a masculine figure in a female character. The next character is Cicely Tyson in Miss Jane Pittman's autobiography. A very old film I watched um from back in the day. This film was very um this television movie was very inspirational for me, and this character was very insightful as it portrayed slavery. And Cicely Tyson portrays Miss Jane Pittman, an elderly black woman who experienced slavery, the Civil War, and the Civil Rights Movement in this television movie. Having faced unspeakable adversity without ever displaying obvious weakness, her character is strong and resilient. Despite having many layers, her portrayal mostly conforms to the cliche of the tough black woman who endures hardships throughout her life. Even though she went through all this slavery, civil war, the civil rights movement, she stayed a strong black woman, showing her courage in her situation. The next character being the Cosby Show's Claire Huxtable. I- In addition to being a successful lawyer, Claire Huxtable is a loving wife and mother. She is also shown as a powerful, smart, and stylish, and her portrayal frequently emphasizes her as the family's emotional, resilient cornerstone. Her ability to manage a busy job and a contented life is frequently cited as evidence of her strength. Even though she is a well-rounded character, there are times when the stereotype of the strong black woman is apparent, especially in the relation to her function within the family. She handles everything in the family while working a job. In in a lot of cases, we've seen that women won't work a job or will just be a stay-at-home mom and be their caretakers in their family. But this character showed her strength and her courage while working, being a successful lawyer, and taking up the responsibility of being a good wife and a good mother to her children throughout the series, shown throughout seasons. The final character I will be talking about is Shonda Rhimes' character as Olivia Pope from Scandal. She exemplifies the strong black woman stereotype in many of her films, but this series, when I watched it, she really stood out to me. And Olivia Pope, the character, is seen as an effective crisis manager who can manage difficult interpersonal connections and high pressure circumstances with composure and grace. The story occasionally finds it difficult to strike a balance between her emotional weakness and her role as the resolute, strong character. Her strength and emotion independence are frequently highlighted throughout the show. Now, are these stereotypes being reinforced or challenged? Well, reinforcing the stereotype is something that has been done. Although this cliche might emphasize black women's tenacity and strength, it frequently prevents them from being portrayed as complex or vulnerable. By ignoring their entire emotional spectrum, it might perpetuate the harmful idea that black women must always be resilient and powerful, when in reality, that's not always the case in society and in these films and these television shows that are portraying these characters. Now, a way to challenge this stereotype is that this trope is used in certain stories to give the characters more nuance. How to Get Away with Murder, for example, dives deeply into Annalise's emotional issues and demonstrates her attempt to strike a balance between her work life and personal tragedy, giving her strength a more nuanced and relatable feeling. And to what extent is the trope handled well? Well, Annalise Keaton is an example of the trope being handled well, as the cliche is handled delicately in How to Get Away with Murder. Although Annalise has experienced abuse, loss, and sadness, the show gives her the opportunity to explore her vulnerability in a way that is frequently absent from previous depictions of the trope. It's a more nuanced portrayal where her strength feels like a part of a well-rounded person rather than an unspeakable facade. This is also seen in Mulan, as given the historical and cultural constraints placed on women, Mulan is a strong example, but it also reveals her weaknesses. This gives her character more nuance than the stereotypical strong woman stereotype. And then Claire Huxtable is also a character that shows how this trope is handled well. Claire Huxtable, the program, the television show gives Claire a more well-rounded presence by balancing her toughness with her emotional weakness and relationship complexities. And even though she is portrayed as a strong and capable mother and businesswoman, like past depictions, there is a chance that her strength will be overemphasized at the expense of displaying her entire range of emotions. And in conclusion, in certain situations, the black the strong black woman cliche can be uplifting, but it also has drawbacks. It frequently ignores the complexities and emotional fragility of black women. When applied carefully, like in Scandal or How to Get Away with Murder, it can create a multifaceted representation of power. If done incorrectly, though, it might wind up perpetuating the idea that black women must always be strong and emotionally self-sufficient while disregarding their right to feel and show weakness, fear, or vulnerability. A more and that is what the strong black woman really emphasizes during during this during these shows and during these movies, and each one of these characters went through their strong black woman trope in different ways, and it is portrayed in different scenarios, and it is seen as a deeper complexity in the potential harm that is being done to the emotional state of these characters as women, as women are really not supposed to be strong, But these women and these characters are strong, and they break that barrier of feminism with a masculine attitude of being strong and being resilient and understanding what they have to do for their character arc. Thank you so much. This has been the strong black woman trope. Appreciate your time.